Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in, welcome on, welcome to another episode of the Direct Podcast. Everything you need to know about the universes you love. I'm your host, Matt Roembke, and I'm joined as always by my friend, co-host, box office correspondent, senior editor at thedirect.com, Mr. David Thompson. David, how are you today?
I am 1 week away from seeing Superman. I'm going to believe a man can fly, and I'm already slightly nervous, giddy. 1 week from today, it's going to be like Christmas morning, and I cannot wait for that. But yes, today I'm also seeing Jurassic World, and I'm kind of like, eh.
Somebody saw a Rotten Tomatoes score, decided to revert back to his early
I,
level of excitement.
I don't know. I think part of it also is like it comes out Wednesday. It's not that this isn't that exciting. Like I don't know. I just
So that's a question I have for you. Superman. Ever heard of it? Would you this is like gambling on your own team or like playing fantasy football when you have the team you're playing against has like your favorite team's players on it?
sure.
What would make you more upset? If you didn't love it or if the box office sucked?
That's funny. It would make me more upset if I didn't like the movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. That's the answer I was hoping you would say.
Yeah, I mean it
Now,
would be infuriating if it's like a really good if it thunderbolts,
sure,
if it did
sure.
that.
That, no, I like that as a verb, by the way.
Yeah,
Um, if you didn't like it or didn't love it, I guess, you know what I mean?
sure.
And the box office was outstanding. Would that curve a lot of that for you?
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think I would try to talk myself into liking
Liking
it
it more.
then. Yeah.
I love that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Direct Podcast. Everything you need to know about the universes you love. We're going to be reviewing Ironheart episodes 1 through 3 today. Big episode. So we'll get right to the news, but really quick, we are still working through our Spotify issues. If you are hearing this right now, you are either a part of the Direct Podcast Patreon page, or on the Direct Extras YouTube channel, listening to this full episode out in full video. We thank you guys so much for finding us and getting us in your ears when we can. We are working out the Spotify thing as quickly as we can. And as far as the YouTube, we're going to upload full episodes on YouTube until it is fixed. Once it is fixed, we are going to not do that because that is a Patreon perk, but we do have more plans for YouTube, which is, I think, what, top two website in the world, probably.
Yeah, I love it. I'm
That,
on
that
it
isn't a search
24/7.
engine.
Yeah,
Probably, I would have to think that and Facebook.
right.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that, let's get into everything you need to know about the universes you love. All right, David Thompson, today's top story of the week in the universes you love. James Bond from Amazon MGM Studios has found its director, and that director's name, Denis Villeneuve. What? Ladies and gentlemen, Denis Villeneuve, director of the Dune franchise, Sicario, Arrival, and other, I don't even want to say cult classics, just blockbuster sci-fi classics, has been helmed to take over the James Bond franchise for at least one movie. David Thompson, with that news, your immediate reaction to Denis Villeneuve taking over 007?
Man, I was shocked when I first saw this news. It definitely came as a big surprise for me. It seemed like they really wanted to get Nolan. Nolan, I think, would have been a really, really hard get. But I would have told you last week, Danny Villeneuve would be a really, really hard get. I mean, this guy is about to start
Sure.
production on Dune Part 3. Like, he's a busy guy. I guess this clears up what solves the mystery of what his next movie will be after Dune Part 3. I assume that's what this news is telling us, but wow, what a win. Um, really, I mean, just fascinated by what his direction will be with James Bond. It sounds like something we've never seen before. Really excited about it. I loved his work on Dune most recently. People rave about Arrival, which is a movie I haven't seen, but like I have, some friends like that's still his best movie to them. So I'm excited to go back and maybe check that out before James Bond. But it seems just like they really wanted a big name director for this new chapter of James Bond, obviously now being sold to Amazon and MGM, and kind of just doing this whole new thing with, I think, Amy Pascal producing. Really exciting stuff, a really great start, and I can't wait to see what his direction is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's exciting just because everything he does, people love, right? And that's really all you can ask for in a director um, hiring.
Yeah.
Now, there are some instances where a director gets a movie and you can very quickly kind of see what that movie's going to be, right? When Destin Daniel Cretton got Spider-Man, we all immediately got in our heads what those quick web action scenes are going to look like.
Right.
You know, those well choreographed in the pocket web action scenes. We all immediately started visualizing that. Had Michael Bay gotten this movie, we all could have immediately figured out kind of the vibe of James Bond. It was going to be big and bombastic and sweaty. I've been watching a lot of Michael Bay lately. It's
Really?
fun.
Huh.
Oh, it's fun, David. It's a good time. It is a good time. Um, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you can kind of put that together pretty quickly. With this, another good one, Multiverse Madness, Sam Raimi. We all knew exactly what that was going to be, and it was. With this, I think Dune is probably what at least listeners of this podcast probably know the best for Denis Villeneuve. Arrival I've seen, but it was when it came out. I don't remember it very well, if I'm being honest. I think I watched it like movies I watched it in college, like just with six other people in a room. Eh, don't
Yeah.
remember a lot of those, a lot of conversations going on. I watched Sicario last night.
Oh, okay.
Watched Sicario last night. Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin, Daniel Coulier, not Coulier. What's his name? Oh, Get Out.
Isn't that how you say his name? Yeah.
Is it Coulier?
I thought so.
It's
Yeah.
just like the guy from Full House. Um, Great movie.
Just spelled
Um,
differently than that.
really awesome movie, and just really intense the
Or I guess
entire.
Daniel Kaluuya. Yeah.
Cool, yeah, he's great in that movie. That movie is intense the entire time. Like you're on the edge of your seat, suspense the whole time. It's a Taylor Sheridan script, so it's got a lot of just just lean forward, what's about to happen. Can't
Hmm.
can't imagine what's about to happen next, kind of things. And that I think, from what I can tell, is our best reference to what Bond might look like. Just because it's not spy, but it's got that kind of vibe to it. It's covert, I guess, for
Right.
lack of a better term. And after watching that last night, pretty pumped.
Yeah.
Pretty
I
damn
love
excited.
Yeah, I love Prisoners. But that's just like a super dark movie.
It's not.
Um, but I mean it's a really good movie, but it's a really, really dark movie. And I mean that's kind of a little bit of Villeneuve is like he does that kind of that a dark aesthetic really well. Like even the Dune movies aren't like these bright poppy things. Like he does like that look of even just like think about like his cinematography on that moon planet or whatever it
Yeah.
was, the one that was like the black and white with like the black sun. I mean it's maybe gonna be the best looking Bond movie we've ever had, you know, and that's not just because of like the time of when it's releasing. It might be because of the director at the helm, but we'll see. Like the sky's the limit.
I really like the Daniel Craig James Bonds myself. He's great.
Yeah, me too.
Huge part of it, right?
Mhm.
Those are fun movies. Casino Royale is incredible. I feel like we might Casino Royale might be the closest thing we're getting from a Denis Villeneuve style Bond, just because it's much more intimate.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
my biggest question really is who's composing this thing,
Right.
because Zimmer's kind of his guy a little bit right now, right?
Yeah.
Zimmer did Dune.
Yeah.
Um, if Hans Zimmer gets his hands on a James Bond score, that could be pretty epic, man. I mean, that's one of the best movie scores of all time. It's definitely one of the most recognizable, right?
Right. Right.
Themes rather.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
I mean,
it's really exciting. I
I
just
imagine
don't
it'll be Hans. That'd be that. I mean, especially he's coming off F1.
know they
Great,
do it.
great score in F1. Like that'd be awesome.
I'm going to see F1 on Thursday. I'm pretty excited. So, Dave Villeneuve's director. That's going to come with a lot of cachet when you're pitching this movie to people. You have to imagine the cast overall is going to be pretty high profile. If not high profile, just like people who are getting jobs right now in Hollywood, they're going to get this job kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's beyond just who's going to play James Bond. But of course, even more than director, the question is who's the next Bond? Who gets the title next? It's one of the most prestigious titles in Hollywood. You know,
Yeah.
Connery, Brolin, Craig, this guy. The favorites right now, Aaron Taylor Johnson, uh, uh, Aaron Pierre is his name,
Yeah. John
who is
Stewart.
John Stewart. Yep, yep, from that Netflix Rebel Ridge, which he was
Hmm.
incredible in. But there's another name that popped up with the Amy Pascal of it all.
Three names that
Sure,
popped up, but yeah,
but the big one is our sweet, sweet prince, Mr. Tom Holland. Now, David, you're a huge Spider-Man fan. I know you love Tom Holland.
sure.
And Amy Pascal also loves Tom Holland. If you don't know that, check out their early 2020 Sony releases. Most of them Tom Holland.
That's funny. Yeah.
Holland is Bond. Your thoughts?
Nah.
No
Nope.
way,
Nope.
right?
He's not. He's not James Bond. Like he won't be. There's no shot. And I would also hate it. Like I don't want him to not. I want him to be Spider-Man for, three more
Like
movies. I don't want him to
fucking
be James
90.
Bond. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not. And he's perfect as Spider-Man. I'm not sure Tom Holland should honestly. I mean, he already is doing the Nathan Drake thing, I guess, with Uncharted, but I don't think he really should be doing. Ideally, I wouldn't really like to see him in that much like franchise IP stuff outside of Spider-Man. Like he's Spider-Man. That like you are one of the biggest pieces of IP, like not to put it in such like standard terms, but it's true. You're Spider-Man. Go do some smaller stuff. And by when I say smaller stuff, go be in the Odyssey. Like that, but it's not a franchise play. So no, I can't imagine him leading the Bond franchise in the future. While also still being Spider-Man, but I also just don't see him as James Bond. I don't think that's really I mean, sure, I guess you could see a little bit in his performance in Uncharted, but I'm not sure that's necessarily playing to his strengths.
Yeah.
Physically,
It's
I guess it'd be good. He'd be bouncing around doing all sorts of stunts and stuff. But yeah,
there couldn't be more baggage for a James Bond actor than Spider-Man, right? Like Downey would be probably like even Christian Bale
it's
could do
unnecessary.
can do Bond more realistically than a Tom Holland, even though he's fucking Batman, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I
The
love
Bruce
Aaron
Wayne part of
Pierre.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
yeah,
That'd be like Clooney as Bond. I've always thought would be sick, but until he has to do some action, right?
yeah.
Until he has to move a little bit.
Not British. Can do a British accent. That'd be interesting.
So yeah, it probably has to be a British guy, right?
I Yeah.
Um, I loved
I'd be
Aaron Pierre in
stunned if
Rebel
it's
Ridge.
not. That'd be a whole thing.
I really like Aaron Pierre in Rebel Ridge. He's fantastic. He's stunning. He was really good in that movie. He's going to be awesome in Lanterns. Aaron Taylor Johnson's been my pick ever since I saw Bullet Train
Right.
because he was fit as fuck. He looked great in the suit. He was in a suit that entire movie, and he did some really fun action scenes in that. Man, he was moving. And Craven, for what it was, it was an absolute mess of a movie, but he looked good in those action scenes. And he's definitely bulked up since Avengers, right? So
Mhm.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's been my pick for a while. Do you have anybody else at the top of your list?
Dude, I honestly don't like. I know it's gonna be a big name actor. I would love if it's not. I was stunned to see. We brought up Tom Holland, which was like one of three names that Variety tossed out, which I do not really buy at all. It was Jacob Elordi, Tom Holland, and Harris Dickinson. And Harris Dickinson's gonna
Yeah.
be in the Beatles movie. Like, it's like what? Jacob Elordi seems uninterested in big plays like this. Really, really random list. And yeah, I mean, Aaron Pierre would be cool. The first Black Bond. I think that would be interesting to see. Of course, like Idris Alba forever was like going to be the next James Bond, but maybe he's kind of like phased out of that. But what the age seems to be like that 30s, younger Bond, obviously kind of restarting it.
Yep.
I'd be for Aaron Taylor Johnson. I haven't seen 28 Years Later, but apparently he's really good in that movie as well. And Aaron Taylor Johnson was getting meetings on Bond even before the sell of the James Bond
Sure.
IP. So I think that's kind of why he's in the leading spot. But now, like then again, now
It's
Denny is going to have a huge say in
new
this.
regime.
Yeah, so it's really open. I would love for it to be someone I haven't really heard of much, or that's not really been in too much. And even like an Aaron Pierre, like back to the whole thing with Spider-Man, like I'm excited to see what he does now as Green Lantern, who seems to be like he's going to be like the Green Lantern in the new DCU. If you're James Bond, you're James Bond, man. Like we saw with Daniel Craig, he did other stuff too, but now that he's not James Bond, you see him diving into even more. He's really branching out. So it's going to be exciting. But if I were to have a choice, it wouldn't even be Aaron Taylor Johnson. It would just be someone who, like I said, fits the bill. Really, it would be the David Corn Sweat of James Bonds. It'd be someone we haven't really heard about that comes out and looks just like him, acts just like him, and can
Yeah,
like become the character.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be very exciting. We'll follow that news as we go. Moving on, the Batman Part 2. The script has been finished. We've talked about the Batman Part 2
Finally,
and kind of the delay of it all and how much that kind of sucks. The fact that the script just got done, I think, is more of a spotlight on how long it's taken for the script to get done, right? If this movie holds date, October 2027, it will be the longest gap between a first and second comic book movie of all time, beating out Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness by roughly 100 days. And that is a COVID movie.
wait, what
That's how,
that really?
yeah,
2016 to 2022?
yeah. That's currently the longest.
But isn't it 2022 then to 2027? Am I
Yeah, so
crazy?
it's like five something years because Multiverse of Madness came out early
Right. Oh,
2022.
okay. Yes, math.
Yeah, it's just under. It's just
That's
under. It's
crazy.
close. Yeah, the years aren't going to make as much sense as the days.
Well, because it's early
I did
22,
extensive
late
research.
27. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
crazy. That's
yeah.
crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
But
I,
that's a COVID movie, man. Like that had a year built-in delay.
yeah. I mean, it was filming
Um,
before COVID. It's crazy. And now this movie's not gonna start filming until next year sometime, maybe, I guess. I mean, yeah, next year. Um, yeah. I with the Batman Part 2, I'm excited it got turned in, excited to see how things progress. I'm still so fascinated to see how everything progresses when it comes to DCU and Matt Reeves' universe. And
yeah,
if we ever get the crossover or if we don't. And it is unclear, but I think we're kind of getting closer. I think by the end of this year we're gonna have more of a direction when it comes to Batman in the DCU, whether it's Robert Pattinson or not. Because we're here, Matt. We're a week away, 2 weeks away. Once Superman's out in the ether, once it's out in the universe, once we know what this new DCU is, we're moving. Like now we know. It's gonna be exciting.
Superman just keeps feeling like the Flash. Remember how long it was like, wait, just gotta wait till the Flash, wait till the Flash,
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah.
Um,
Hopefully hopefully it's the like inverse effect of that. But
yeah.
yeah.
F1, Brad Pitt, Krasinski, Top Gun Maverick director, uh, opened to 144 million worldwide. I don't have the records on me, but the footnote is it's one of the biggest openings for an original movie in recent decades. Between that and Sinners, what a year for original movies so far. It's only June. And I'm going to see it on Thursday. Couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. I've seen it twice now.
Nice.
Really
IMAX?
no, not IMAX either time actually.
Wow. Okay.
Um, but I've heard IMAX is great.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if I want a third time, probably try to go see IMAX. But no, yeah, we went back. I went with some of my friends this weekend. Took them. It was funny. One of my buddies, we walked in the theater, and he knew I'd already seen it. Like almost 2 weeks before then. Uh, and he's like, why is this theater so crowded? Hasn't this movie been out? He doesn't pay any attention. He's like, hasn't this movie been out? I'm like, no, I saw it early. He's like, oh, because it was a jam-packed theater, and it was awesome.
yeah.
It was a great time. That really translated well to the box office. I'm super thrilled about these numbers. I'm so happy F1's performing well. It's keeping Jurassic World off of IMAXs this weekend, which is a really crazy move, but it's great. It's only going to help. It's going to do great. I think F1's going to do amazing business this week because we have people are going to be off probably Thursday, Friday. A lot of people this weekend. I think it's going to have great legs. At least like just 2 day legs, or sorry, 2 week legs ahead of Superman. And even then, F1's still a different, I would say, target demographic for a lot of people. And it's a really fun movie. It's a really good movie. Last week, did their whole review on it on this podcast solo. Go check that out.
Yeah. I'm pumped. Look out for a big weekend at the box office with F1 rolling
Oh
and
my
Jurassic
gosh. Yeah, we're
coming.
here,
Yeah.
man. Like F1, it's funny because Megan complete the sequel to Megan completely bombed, but like it doesn't really matter because now I mean, that was the mess up by Blumhouse. But like now we are in the range of like we have hit tomorrow's July. We have hit the July mark at the box office where things are going to be lit on fire. Everyone's going to be at the
Yeah,
movies.
good times. Some quick news stories before we get out of here. Sunflower by Post Malone and Anderson .Paak. No, no, Sway Lee. Sorry, Post Malone and Sway Lee has officially become the number one most streamed song of all time. I assume that's Spotify numbers.
It was
And
Spotify.
it's a song from a comic book movie, and I think that is fucking awesome.
That is awesome. Great scene in that movie. Stand by it. Amazing
It's
scene.
it's low key one of the best needle drops in a comic book movie, just because that scene is incredible, and it's a tell you everything you need to know about Miles kind of thing.
It's a banger song.
Like everybody relates to Miles so easily in that scene, like just because it's a song that you kind of know a little bit of, right?
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good, man. And then the Social Network Part Two is in the works. Sorkin is currently writing and directing, and
Right.
there is the Aaron Sorkin problem of all. Is he also
Yeah.
directing?
Yeah, not being Fincher sucks. I'll be there day one. I mean, Social Network's one of my favorite movies of all time, but it's a little concerning. Sean Fennessy on The Big Picture made a really great point when they were talking about this, that like the little like thing that Variety gave us or whatever of like what it's about. It just was so unfocused. Like it was like, oh, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this. Like you gotta focus the movie, but it's still in early development. And if Eisenberg is back, I mean that was not along with this news at all, completely up in the air. If Eisenberg is back, count me all the way back in. Even with Sorkin directing and writing and having pretty much full control over this thing, I'll be there. I'll be excited. And I will not be expecting this to be better than the first movie because, in my opinion, how can it be?
And it's all yes, how can it be? And like Sorkin with a great director is like that magic sauce always, right? Because he can write and somebody can take that writing and put it to that next level. Um, the trial, the trial with Jesse Eisenberg. If they're able to get Eisenberg back and do the Facebook trial from 5 years ago or whatever it was, where
Yeah.
he's like, we we sell ads. We have ads on our website. Like that scene could be huge, man.
Yeah.
That could be a 20-minute long just bomb of a scene. It could be awesome.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting to see once the thing actually starts moving with hopefully Eisenberg back. Because if you're making a movie about Facebook, and you have the guy and the age stuff all lines up, it all works well. It would be, I mean, you could seamlessly put it right, like put him right back into, I mean, it would actually be, I mean, I'm excited. It would be really cool to see. Like
Yeah,
it will be really cool to see, hopefully, if they do what I hope they do with this movie. Which so
yeah,
far, meh. Like Sorkin, I'm happy about Sorkin being back for writing. I'm happy about the idea of making a new one, but nothing else about it is like making me jump up and down. But like at the end of the day one, I'll be there.
absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that is everything you need to know about the universes you love. Let's get into the universe we love the most. Back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Back on Disney Plus. Ladies and gentlemen, Ironheart. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in, welcome on, and welcome to Ironheart Review here on the Direct Podcast. I'm here, David's here, and we are joined today by a very special guest, the creator of Go Read Some Comics, the best heady comic book YouTube channel in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, you know her, you love her. It's Jenna Anderson back on the Direct Podcast. Jenna, what up?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me back.
We're very excited to have you. We're excited to talk about Ironheart. But before we do that, Superman,
Yes.
Fantastic Four,
Yes.
Jurassic Park, James Bond, everything is happening. Is this the best time to be a fan of the Fantastic right now?
I think so, honestly. Like, I still am in utter disbelief that Superman is as close as it is. Like, it doesn't feel real
Yeah.
that we're almost here after I've thought about that movie every day for the past, like, year. It's
Seriously.
crazy.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do after next week? You know what I mean? Like
Look forward to Fantastic Four and Comic-Con and whatever the hell else happens after that.
Yeah.
yeah, it's when the Pacers lost, I was like, what do I do every third day now? Now it's gonna be what do I look up on Twitter every day? It's gonna be wild. But today we're not here to talk about Superman. We are here to talk about Ironheart, the newest entry of the MCU on Disney Plus. 3 episodes a week. First three last week. This one's we're going to talk about today, and then the next three this week. the finale episodes, and we'll be talking about that later this week. Before we get going, Jenna, Disney Plus cannot decide how they want to release episodes. They refuse to do anything the same way twice, right? How do we feel about this one, right? Because in my opinion, I loved Echo and the binge watch model of it all because it didn't let us dissect every little second of a very small show. This feels right for these first 3 episodes we saw, and now I'm more excited for the next 3 than I think I would have been.
Yeah, I was really worried when this was initially announced because, like you said, there hasn't been a lot of consistency. Like, obviously, they did the 3 episode arcs with Andor and they released them that way, which I wish they would have done in season 1 to begin with when they really, really were serialized in that sort of way. I
Yeah.
was so worried going in of like, is it going to swallow the show up? Are we going to not be able to talk about certain things? Is it going to have certain plot twists or certain cameos like override anything else? But I think it's working. I'm not usually much of a binge person anymore. Like, even just sitting and watching these 3 episodes on Tuesday night is like, this is an undertaking for me, but it's proven to be worth it. Like, this was definitely fun watching these 3 in one sitting.
Yeah, it's interesting. David, now that we've seen the first 3, how are we feeling about the split? Is this just an Andor reaction or was this an Ironheart focused decision?
I think it was Ironheart focused. I think it was smart. I mean, we just mentioned it's a sign of the times. Like, we have so much coming in July and kind of like capturing this moment right before we then die. I mean, it literally comes out that it finishes the day before Jurassic World kicks off this insane Jurassic Super Fantastic Four thing. And I think that's really smart. I think for like this show in many ways, which I mean, this dives into a little bit like the context of the show. It really is in many ways for MCU fans. I mean, we're going all the way back to '08 in a lot of respects, and that I think really helps like make this feel in some ways kind of niche. At least for me, like when watching, I'm like, yeah, like I feel rewarded, which I don't always feel nowadays. I felt really rewarded like being an MCU fan forever, from Ironheart and Doctor Strange, even Wakanda Forever, of course. And yeah, so I think it was really smart to do. I liked sitting down and watching. I watched the first 2 by themselves and finished up the next day with the third one. That was a
Hey,
little weird because the third one felt like so different to me. I'm not sure it was because I watched them like that or if it was because that was how it was. But the first 2, like, I breezed through like it was one episode. And then I got to the third, I'm like, oh wow, like they're really raising the stakes. And I totally understand why they left off where they left off. And I'm excited to see now where that goes because based on the first 3 episodes, I could have seen them doing more than like just they got into a habit of doing the 2 episode premieres like with Agatha.
right.
I could have seen them just doing weekly. Like I would have been hooked up to the first episode personally. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm in. Like she's not
Yeah.
at MIT anymore. We're going this whole new direction. Like there's the hood and all that stuff. But I think doing the 3 is fascinating, and I'm excited to see how this upcoming week's pacing feels as well. Because then, these MCU shows, they're the penultimate and the finale always have a specific feeling to them, and being able just to watch them all at once. I mean, hopefully it should be pretty exhilarating, and especially after I thought what was a really good episode 3 of this set.
Yeah, and it's going to be so interesting to see the reactions of it. Just because we've heard big things about the next 3 episodes. So, but let's dive into these first 3. Let's get into it. The box score, our overall thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Ironheart. Dominique Thorne, Anthony Ramos, Lyric Ross, Mandy Montana, Matthew Elam, Jaron Merrill, Zoe Durekis, and Alden Ehrenreich, amongst many others. Of course, that is just your top 8 here on IMDb. Jenna Anderson, would love to hear your spoiler-free overall thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Ironheart.
I think a lot of it goes back to what David was just saying of like this show does feel niche in a very interesting and unexpected way. Like I feel like we've gotten to the point where the Disney Plus shows don't have to be this big monocultural moment the way that like WandaVision necessarily was. And
Shut
it
up.
sucks that this show's not getting the same sort of treatment, but it still is so rewarding as a piece of media in and of itself. It feels like reading a comic. It feels like reading a 6 issue Ironheart miniseries and just getting its own little self-contained kind of adventure. And once I kind of separated the lead up to the show and the reaction to the show and how people were kind of writing it off before we even saw a look of footage. I had seen footage at D23 last year. Jamie Jirak, who co-hosts Phase Zero with me, saw footage like 3 years ago at D23. Like they've been working on the show for a while. But a lot of people before they'd even seen anything we're very like ready to just kind of write it off. And I think in actuality, it is far from the worst Disney Plus show that we've had. It is delightful in a lot of ways. And I think the cast and just kind of the world that it is in is so insular and so character driven that that then becomes really compelling, especially as you watch more.
Definitely. And you know, when it's a character driven show like that, it's so easy to, well, who's this for? That's a big statement for a lot of these MCU shows. There's some credibility to that because like these are, I mean, we're Ironheart is not even a B tier Marvel character to the common Marvel fan, right? Like that's a deep comic book pull for even the biggest MCU fans, right? But the show knows that and treats this like you said. And I think, you know, if I could jump into mine real quick, David,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
exactly how I felt. The comic book brought to life thing is something that I'm always looking for in these types of shows because I always wanted the tie-in vibe of a comic and the Disney Plus shows to be that. That's what WandaVision was for me. I felt it felt like such a perfect tie-in. But the first three episodes here felt so much like the first few issues of a new comic book where you are relearning who this person is. And so often in comic books, even we did meet this person in a different book, and now they're getting
Yeah.
their own book. And like that, they captured that really well in a very cool way, in a very like late 2000s Bendis kind of way. Like it just it felt very natural in for a comic book fan, like we all are. So I just loved that. Absolutely not. I'm not blown away by this show. And I have no reservations saying that, but it's so enjoyable. It is an interesting story, which I feel like it's lost a lot of the times in these Disney Plus shows where the character is so prevalent, where the pop of it all is kind of the focus. But the story I'm interested in, it's fun. It's a lot more fun than I thought it would be. And I'm having a good time with the mystery behind it and knowing that we're going to get that mystery solved by the end of this week. That's another driver of excitement for me. And I think that they did format this well for what we saw. And after seeing it, I understand it even more. David Thompson.
Yeah, I think like the mystery behind the show, and we've even seen stuff from the marketing that we haven't seen in the show yet, which is pretty interesting to me. You know, but that goes along with what we were just talking about when it comes to the release schedule. I'm like, okay, cool, I get answers immediately. And in this first three episodes, I think the biggest thing to me that stood out, like I had fun with it. I really enjoyed Dominic Thorne as Riri Williams. I enjoyed her in Wakanda Forever. I think she's really good. Alden Ehrenreich is really great. I really enjoy his presence in this show a lot, way more than I was expecting. Like way more than I was expecting. But yeah, like I've been enjoying it, and it just feels you guys. I'm not gonna repeat anything you guys just said. It feels contained to me. It gives me a little bit. I prefer this show more, but it gives me a little bit of Miss Marvel vibes. I like the Chicago feel to it. It feels small. Like it feels. It really. You know, when you're making a character that is a spin-off that was like the protege in the comics of Iron Man, you know, like it is kind of like the smaller story, you know, and it has that contained small feel. It doesn't feel like it's going to be anything monumental in the MCU, but then it also has that possibility where it could be a little bit. You know, it's like there is some mystery, some magic, some craziness happening in this show. But the narrative itself feels small. And so far I've been enjoying it. It's fun. I like the kind of ragtag team and all that good stuff. And I like pretty much every supporting character. Like they're not all amazing, but like I like them all. No one's like on my nerves. No one like they're not giving like too much time to someone who I don't think they should be. It's all been pretty solid so far, I'd say.
Everyone's in this show. Like everyone who's in this show is in every scene.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's another thing about it. Like those supporting characters, they're almost one character, the crew, right? Is
Mhm.
this the most ragtag team we've ever gotten? You know what I mean? Like this little, you know, coalition of just niche criminals having fun being criminals. Like it's a very cool, specific way they did this. And I had a lot of fun getting to know each of them as well throughout. Let's dive into the film room a little bit. Let's get a little deeper, guys. Come on, let's analyze a little bit. You know, like nerds do. Like nerds love to do. Jenna Anderson, a character, a scene, a theme, a plot line, whatever it might be. What stuck out to you the most in these first three episodes that you would like to dive into?
Well, David mentioned it a little bit, but I live in Chicago, like the Chicagoland area, and the thing that has been the most like biggest curiosity for me has been how they would handle Chicago in the MCU. And I feel like by and large, just based on these 3 episodes, they got it. It is funny because I said to my husband, I was like, the most unrealistic thing about the show is that Chicago would allow so many like high tech big businesses to
Yeah.
successfully be built this quickly because we're kind of sticks in the mud. It takes forever to even get a new football stadium. We're not about to put like a little subterranean super highway underneath the
Yeah.
tunnels.
Tunnels.
But I think they got the spirit of Chicago in a really interesting way. Like even just getting into like the north side like neighborhoods that they're starting to rob versus like the south side where she's living. Like I feel like it feels very authentically like Chicago, even though I'm sure they didn't film exclusively here. I'm sure a lot of this was like an Atlanta soundstage that just looks like Chicago, but it feels very much the essence in a way that some other shows necessarily don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anytime they branch into a new big city in the MCU, it's kind of a big deal. Like, former co-host of this podcast, former coworker of Jenna, Liam Crowley, when Wakanda Forever came out, like MCU Boston, he was very dialed in on how they handled Boston in the MCU, and it was just a short time in there. But Chicago is, such a everybody from Chicago. I'm from Indianapolis, but I love Chicago. You know what I mean? I'm a Cubs fan. I'm
Mhm.
up there over the summer. I'm up there all the time. And I feel like in Chicago, people like they know their vibe and they know
Mhm.
how to identify when people understand it in a big way. For me, I saw the White Sox flag in the where you fix cars. The hell,
Mhm.
the
Auto
shop,
shop?
whatever,
Yeah.
auto
Yeah.
shop. Thank you, whatever. I saw the White Sox flag and I was a little upset. Not gonna lie, but then they got into the neighborhoods and the Cubs flag came out and I'm like, okay, they know what we're doing here. All right, they must have been in the South Side at that auto shop, So it was very cool to see both teams represented there. But yeah, man, MC Chicago can't beat it. And that scene where she steals the suit and flies in through the
Mhm.
river and
Yeah.
just through
Yeah.
everything. I'm like, oh,
The
they knew.
opening?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
knew exactly what they wanted to do there. They had their Chicago hero shot and they used it perfectly.
Yeah, it's funny. This show, like I think it's done Chicago really well, and it's done the thing where we're in the city for most of it, and then you really have this like
Mhm.
stark feeling of like, oh, I'm like in the city. I'm where like the Williams family is, or where Williams is, and like the whole crew we're talking about, like with the hood and all this, and then you go out to the suburbs.
Yep.
And there's this guy there named Joe, and it's like, and then you're just like, what is this show? Like, what am I
Yeah.
watching right now? Like you mentioned, Matt, earlier, it's like everyone's in every scene besides these scenes. And it's just like Dominic Thorne and Alden Ehrenreich having a time. And it's my favorite part of the show. It is
Same.
far and away like this Obadiah Stane's son. What a sentence I'm saying in 2025, by the way. And the
What a
ashes,
reveal.
the ashes reveal. That's
I because like
so
this was
good.
rumored ahead of time, but I was not prepared for the way that they revealed it. Of like having the ashes dumped out of like this first villain in the franchise has his ashes in a Ziploc bag is like hilarious to me at
He
this
was
point. I
so
loved that.
casual about
I
it.
loved it.
It
He
was
was so whatever.
it was I thought it was amazing. Like this character is so fun. It's hilarious that Disney executives at one point were like, "This guy's Han Solo," and then they cast him as this guy, like who's just not Han Solo. It's just
Man.
it's so fun. I really like I guess Ezekiel now. I think him and Dominic Thorne's dynamic is really good. Like I really enjoy the scene in the car. Like I just everything about it has been a lot of fun. He's like just a wild card. Like he's just kind of doing the whole what do you call what he's like working on, like where he's opening up his like skin and stuff, the biometrics or something. I don't know.
Bio skin or
Yeah, like
X skin something,
it's pretty
which like
interesting.
very Iron Man, by the
Yeah,
way.
exactly. I like
Very
how in
Iron
this
Man.
show, like this is a little off track, but like on that same effect, like everyone's kind of got their thing. There's the hood, there's the suit, there's like the him opening up his arm, like everyone and like all the team all like is known for their thing instantly. Um, yeah, it looked disgusting, right? But
Mhm.
needless to say, it's my favorite part of the show so far. I think without it, it really would be lacking. Like I feel like there's kind
Yeah.
of this like fun, like um creativity in the comedy element. I think a lot of the comedy would be missed without it, and it just gives like an interesting kind of like side story, which also in some ways feels like a comic book, where it's like, oh, our hero's like off doing something else, like they're off like talking to this person you don't normally see them with. And it has that great effect of like, oh, we're downtown, oh, we're out here. Like it's got a really good world, like mini world building element to it. And there's even a line when she's talking to, I think, the Natalie AI, I think in episode 3, where she's like, on this timeline, like on our timeline. I'm like, that's a great multiverse saga line to me in a very grounded story. Just to throw that in there, like, oh, on our timeline. I love that stuff.
You hit the nail on the head that that also feels comic booky because I've been reading a lot of Fantastic Four lately, and man, is Reed Richards not there a lot. Man, is he just off doing something else most of the time? And like that. That's kind of what this felt like. I loved that Riri was like, "Oh, you mean the guy who tragically died in that event?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're still holding on to Iron Man stuff. Look at that.
Yeah, the plane
Look at
crash. That
that.
was so
Still a
funny.
public thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very cool." I'm gonna dive into mine. Mine is definitely more show specific, like plot specific. The last 20 minutes, man, the
Yeah.
heist at
Mhm.
the greenhouse and everything about it. Like that was intense. Like that pocket is top tier MCU Disney Plus stuff. Like the rest of the show is good. I say good, not great. That last 20 minutes, unreal. Like everything about it was uh exciting, intense. There was great pace. They were having fun with it.
Good
The
action
twist,
Yeah.
too.
yeah, the twists and turns, the okadoke with Natalie and being in the suit, and then Riri being down low, doing her little spy mission there.
Iron Man
All
3.
of that was
Yeah.
incredible. And man, the decision to leave John, whoa, like, well, I stood up. I stood up. That's a what the fuck moment, man. That's insane. Like that's big for this Riri Williams character right away. And then her crash out at the end too. I'm young. Crash out. See that? What I did there? Like as a panic attack person, seeing panic attacks in TV usually freaks me out. Ted
Mhm.
Lasso, The Pit, I struggle, right? Riri's, I also struggled, but like earned, man, because she messed up, man. like that was
Seriously.
a lot on her plate that just got pulled right out from under her. What a hook into the next 3 episodes. Jenna, that last 20 minutes, unreal.
I think to your point of just like everyone being in every scene and the way that they handle the ensemble, like I said to my husband after we watched these, I've missed when like superhero shows have this kind of stake episode to episode of like, I don't know how they're going to get out of this situation. And like that was, I genuinely was like stressed trying to figure it out because I feel like as someone who I got into this industry covering the Arrowverse shows and like have seen hundreds and hundreds of hours of them, it felt like you would get to the third act fight and it would be very predictable of like you're going to run super fast, you're going to fire some arrows, you're going to do whatever, and the day is going to be saved. But like this, I was like, I genuinely don't know how they're going to get out of this. And then the way that they do, like you said, is shocking, but it's earned.
Yeah, it's
One thing I like about it is it well, first off, it made our hero Riri Williams. It made us question everything. We had us question her morals, her ethics, her future in the MCU. Quite frankly, I'm like, man, like you're a hero, but it also makes us think about like what the show's trying to tell us when it comes to her past. What happened to her best friend, and it's an interesting story, her story in the MCU, where it's like just genius, like just girl genius, can solve any problem, can do anything, like it's just through the roof, like brilliant. But her life's hard. Like in that, I think it's kind of what accumulated to that decision, or that just like happening, where even though she can, program and make an Ironheart suit, and create AI, and even like accidentally stumble into these amazing just inventions and things like that, it's like, man, but she messes up. She's got problems. And I think that makes her obviously a very human character. I mean, she doesn't have superpowers to begin with yet, I guess. But also it makes her interesting, Like I think I agree with your shock, Matt. I was almost like, wait, like it wasn't until when it does the whole like Anthony Ramos is like, Riri, fly over and look, and we get the just great MCU stuff here where you get like the zero like
Mm-hmm.
pulse or whatever. I'm like, oh shit. Like,
classic HUD MCU, man. Just
yeah, I'm
HUD
like,
stuff.
yep, just explain to us without having to explain to us. And I'm like, oh, like that's because I had a little bit of hope before then, like, okay, maybe he like they're gonna get him out or something. Like it's not gonna be as dark, pretty dang dark, and sets up a great. I think it's gonna set up a really good clash here in the next 3 episodes, or whenever that whenever somehow the Hood figures out the truth, which I imagine will somehow, some way happen here.
Yeah, and to double it up with leaving that skin stuff behind, putting old Joe in trouble now. Like
Yeah,
that's another like one thing you couldn't do.
yeah.
And she freaked out like almost as much about that. Like
Mhm.
it was like the John stuff, she, self-defense. You can explain that away hero-wise, right? Like that was a fight, at the end of the day. But it was still intense, it was still controversial. And then the Joe stuff on top of it, like that panic attack felt heavy, man, just 'cause
Mhm.
it happened so quick. Um, Good show. I think we got a good show on our hands, guys. Let's get into a few top plays. Small little bits, characters, fun little moments that we liked. If I could kick it off, and this is only for people. This probably is only exciting. Do you guys watch Scrubs ever? You guys Scrubs fans?
I've seen some episodes.
Damn it. Okay. There's an episode of Scrubs, episode 11, season 1, where it's basically a Christmas episode, and there's a very straightforward Virgin Mary plot line. And there's a scene where Donald Faison, Turk, has to run across the city to this tree, and they play Sinnerman and in that song. And it's when young man, where you going? When they dropped that song in here, I freaked out. It was awesome. That song is so perfect for these types of montage ass shows. Sinnerman, my first top play.
That's great. The first one that I had is just getting back the Iron Man like hood, like the perspective, like
Mhm.
I just love that stuff. Like when she first gets in, I'm like, oh right, like we're back, man. I just love this. I missed it. I always wonder like how those are filmed and like what like direction she's giving in those moments. She looks just like in this like little black sphere. Yeah, really good.
I am still obsessed with Ezekiel's live, laugh, love signs. And just to your point of like, oh, he's out in the suburbs and this is like very kind of jarring for the show. I love the idea of him being this like criminal mastermind waiting in the wings who doesn't even really want to admit that he is one. And he's just
Yeah.
hiding indiscreetly in the suburbs of Chicago in this very rich, nice house and has live, laugh, love signs everywhere. Like, I love that juxtaposition. I think that is very funny.
Yeah.
What it,
Also, he was getting a little excited about all the tech there at
Mm-hmm.
the end, right? A little,
he
little
doesn't want to
excited.
give in to that side, right? That's what the
Yeah.
whole, that's what it feels like. He's like
That
not
definitely
trying
happened.
to, yeah,
Yeah.
not trying to, get into the fall. I had, it was right on top of your like main film breakdown, Matt, where the action of the hood, like the cloaking, the
Mhm.
bullets, like we got like a really cool, like it's like when he shoots them both and like they just
Mhm.
like go and they can like change direction and stuff. Like all that looked really cool to me. Like I'm happy that they kind of got to let Anthony Ramos have that. Oh shit! Like this is actually a really cool villain. I mean, and he's got unique. It's a unique blend, and the hood means something too. Like I like all of that. Like it's all very. It it's like this grounded magic that we've never had in the MCU. Like magic's always been so like we can't even comprehend. Like what Doctor Strange does, he can't even explain this. It's hard to explain to anyone. In this, it's like, oh yeah, like I just signed up for this. There's some darker force behind me. I have this hood. I can now do crazy shit. Because even just I mean, think about it. He even just admits to Riri, oh, it's magic. It's like what?
Yeah.
Like what are you talking about? It's magic. Like what does that even
Yeah.
mean? But it kind of can be almost explained, and obviously it's going to be explained even more. But I love the way it's not mixing in. I just think the top play is like that. His character views it just as a resource, not as like a way of life. It's not Doctor Strange, like dedicating himself to this and like studying and mastering. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I've got magic. It's not science. It's not like artillery. It's magic, and I'm using it to my advantage.
Yeah. On Anthony Ramos.
Yeah.
Jacked, man. Just jacked out
And
of
they're
his
really
mind.
trying with the tattoo shots, long tattoo shots. They're like, yeah,
He's he's
let's
looking
show it.
good.
Yeah.
He's looking good, man. He's had a weird little run lately. I will say. Twisters, like he wasn't my favorite character. Transformers, I'm not sure he was the right fit for that movie. But obviously coming off of Hamilton, he's in everything. So that there's that to it as well. but this feels good. He's very swole in this, and I like a little ripped Anthony Ramos. On him, cousin John. Something about the way that guy talks. There's a mesmerizing cadence to his voice. And that was very cool with this very loud, boisterous group that they put around him. The squad is very funny. Jaron Merrill, who plays Slug, they were hilarious. How do people type with those long nails? Is my question.
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense, right?
And that's their job, of course,
alone.
too. Like the hacker with the crazy long nails. Like, what?
He's got these wild nails. And then the girls, I don't know their name, but the muscle of the group.
Yeah, I like the girls.
Their sisters are dating or whatever it is.
I think they're siblings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're just like super ninjas, I guess. Like they just take down an entire security force. And I kind of buy it though, because like they had a little throwaway line, like, yeah, they're the best at what they do, and what they do is kick ass. Like
they have like the only like hand-to-hand combat in the show.
Yeah.
Like genuinely. Like when they got on the island or whatever in episode 3, like they hop off, they're like doing like flying like Black Widow moves. I'm like, oh right, we're in the MCU. I almost like forgot.
Very funny. Jenna, anything else?
I love the kid with the wagon. I hope that he comes back in the last 3 episodes. I hope like we just rule of 3 as we get him back in some way, because like just his energy is so good. He is such a delightful little source of tension and just like something for Riri to kind of bounce off of. I thought that kid did such a great job. Great performance.
Just a kid trying to get his, like also very Chicago. They're going to be selling candy on every corner, like that's Harper Anthony is his name. He was very funny. Shout out Eric Andre. What a delight. What a delight for him to do something serious for once in his life. And what nice little plot device there. Eric Andre, he's the name, of the group at first, and killing him off. That added a lot to the Riri thing, man. Like that was very quick. I'm loving the squad and just the relationship of it, because it's that mob thing, right? I'm in. Oh, I'll get out when I can. I've seen Goodfellas. It's just not how it goes. Like it's just not how it goes a lot of the time. Any more top plays before we move on next week?
Yeah, I had the parallel at the end of Parker, the Hood, seeing his dead cousin, friend, whatever, John.
Cousin.
Seeing him in like it's almost like a hologram. And I liked how that was a parallel to Riri now being kind of haunted by her AI. That's her dead friend. And I thought that was a parallel. Like, oh, like that would be cool if that's now recurring. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but in my head, I'm like, oh, it's going to be like, it's 2 different relationships because the AI and just being like haunted by a ghost. But it's the same idea, like being reminded of like someone they lost. That could be a pretty cool parallel going forward, I thought.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Natalie at all.
I was gonna ask you, Matt, what you thought of Natalie, because it's an interesting. You just mentioned like plot device. It's interesting, like plot point, plot set, like something where it's like this is intrinsically part of the show.
It's kind of reverse Vision a little bit, right? Because like Vision started as Jarvis, and like he was that side companion for so long, and then we got to know him, and then him and Wanda, and he became a person. He's evolving, and all that stuff. Natalie, right away, it just feels like another character in the show, but then she pops back into the suit, and you forget that she's an AI. And I'm hoping she's great, Lyra Cross. She's a delightful human being. Her little, that little thing she does, so fun. She's doing a lot of that, and I want more of it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They had a few moments where she remembers something or she knows something, and Riri's like, how could you possibly know that? Mm-hmm. And she doesn't understand her own AI. And, the brain sculptor thing, it's very dumb comic book stuff. But, like, I wonder if there's something deeper to that maybe adds a little tension between the two. Because a couple times Riri was like, there's no way you remember that. Why are you sentimental right now? This, that, the other. And that crossbreed's going to be interesting.
Mm. It's like a part of her, like it's like a part of her, like that missing part of her. I wonder if it's further explained. And I like when Natalie also, we talked about kind of the panic attacks that Riri would have. Like it was like when they walk back into the garage, and it's like, whoa, like this is just like this is too much. Like this is too heavy. It's interesting. It's an interesting like plot. The part that I wanted to mention I mentioned you earlier that I didn't necessarily love was just when it's Riri's mom when Natalie pops up for her. I'm
Mhm.
like I don't know. I would have almost liked it to be more of like the hiding the friend in the closet kind of a thing. And now it's kind of more open. I'm just curious how it evolves, I guess. Like what's the end game on that?
See, I thought that scene with the mom was really profound and really interesting because I think just like with what they're trying to say about grief and like how much those deaths have really impacted Riri, like I think that they kind of showed it's not universally just to Riri, like it's to the other people
Hmm.
around her. And I also think it kind of gets into like the ethical, moral debate of making an AI of a real person, of like when she asks, "Can you do an AI of the stepdad that also died?" And it's kind of like, no, not really, because that would be a whole separate can of worms. I think that scene maybe it will pay off into something down the line, but at very least it like brought attention to something that I think naturally probably would have come up in having AI be a part of the show.
Hmm. Yeah.
Combining those two takes is Chekhov's therapy a little bit, right? Because
Yeah.
the brother, we have the brother here. Like the brother wants to see Natalie again, and they have those themes all over. Putting her voice in the songs. Cute little relationship between those two, by the way. And the I think the question now going into these last three episodes, does the brother get to meet Natalie, the AI Natalie?
Right.
Because I think that's what the mom scene was showing us, David, is that they can work like that. Like the mom
Yeah.
got something out there talking to Natalie about Natalie, right? And the question about the dad, immediately I was like, that's too much. Like that
Yeah.
it became perverse in that moment in a way.
Yeah.
In a weird way, because it's so fun and like, they're having a lot of fun back and forth, but the perverseness did step in a little bit there because I want one.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the compass of it goes. The brother, I think his purpose of the show, I'm not saying he's my least favorite character. He's just not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
Not in it much. Yeah.
But I think his purpose of the show will be when he finds out that Riri has a Natalie and hasn't been sharing that with him. That's gonna be some more tension,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in one way or
Definitely.
another. It's good show, guys. Disney Plus, man. If these next three episodes are solid, and we've heard that this ends on a bang, right? That's kind of
Hmm.
the talk of the town, real quick. If this hits, Disney Plus continues their absolute run. Like they have been untouchable since Acolyte, in my opinion. Like it's been a very good steady stream of content from Disney Plus. Jenna, heading into these next three episodes, do you have any predictions, thoughts, comments, concerns about where this could be going?
My biggest concern is really just in how the fandom will react because I feel like everyone speculated certain things going into the show of like, oh, this big bad or this MacGuffin or something is really going to play a pivotal part in the show. And who knows if that ultimately will be the case or not. But I hope that that conversation doesn't distract from the character drama that we have and the momentum that the show already has as its own show and not just as like a piece of the larger MCU thing. Like I've asked people who have seen all six episodes, do they feel like what gets set up in the show could be played off down the line pretty soon in the MCU, which like with Doomsday, with Secret Wars, it doesn't feel like a lot of the stuff could immediately get mini series as its own like individual title and not just as like this major piece of a puzzle and what it could mean for the MCU.
The Ant-Man problem. Like
Yeah.
it gets lost in the sauce a little bit. Um, I'm with you, and I guess my prediction going into next, obviously reconciling that last 20 minutes, like it's such a good layup because we know immediately what the problem is going in. It's not like a halfway point. It's very much a transition point, and
Hmm.
that's a very cool thing for the show to do with the 3 and 3. And this is going to be very base level MCU fan, but it's a comic book movie, so who cares? Action. I think one more big action set piece probably in these next three. How are they going to make that work with the Hood versus Ironheart? Obviously, we're all excited about the tech magic blend of it all. How can you set that around an exciting action piece that I think comic book shows they don't always need, but man, does it help a comic book show get through a season when you can have something like that to dial in on a little bit, usually in a penultimate episode. So that's where I'm keeping my eyes on it for episode 5, something big, and then do some classic MCU shit. Where in the last episode we deal with the characters, but in the fifth episode we deal with the plot, for lack of a better term. Do the WandaVision thing, give us the WandaVision thing. David Thompson.
I mean, I just wonder if it's Mephisto or not. what's going on there.
He said it. He said the thing.
You know?
That's what I was kind of dancing around when I said my concern, because that's
the 4-letter word.
Because I'm so worried that we're going to repeat WandaVision again, and it's just going to be the Mephisto debate, the Mephisto debacle is going to eclipse whether or not he does show up. It's going to be the people who thought he was going to show up are going to immediately have their own preconceived notions about the show. And I'm like, I can't do this again. We already did this with WandaVision.
At least we're not going to be saying it for 8 weeks, like with WandaVision. Yeah. Like this, it's 2 weeks. We're in and out. If we get him, we do. If we don't, we don't. I'm going to say I think it is. I think it's just kind of going to be one of those like payoffs where like he's been I mean, the WandaVision thing of it all was just Jenna just alluded. It was, if you were an MCU fan at that time, that was like the whole conversation every single day on Twitter and YouTube and everything. Like,
it was the greatest 2 months of MCU Twitter.
Ever. It was that and the aerospace engineer. That was all we could talk about.
John Krasinski.
Oh, and the Paul Bettany quote.
Oh yeah.
Quote.
Yeah. It's a good time. Hard to capture the audience like that anymore. But I am excited to dive back into that kind of conversation. And we're recording this tomorrow. We're gonna find out. It just wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't be surprising if it's one of those things that kind of like, because it was so almost like the fan drivenness was so loud, 4 years ago now, they'll finally do the thing. And it's got to be someone interesting, like this big shadowy thing at the end. It's got to be something interesting. I saw like Dormammu and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that. That'd be more surprising to me than like a new villain, new character, which in this case could be Mephisto. And it kind of makes sense. The whole deal with the devil kind of an idea with the hood. That all tracks to me. Where it's kind of just like, just the temptation of it, taking it. It's like a short-term solution for the guy, and now he's getting like the overtake. And I'm also excited to see finally, wrapping this up, the hood's transformation physically, because we saw it expand. The tattoos were expanding. Like it went from like one big chest tattoo to now the other one. The back's all moving down. I'm excited to see kind of that final form, because that's something that Marvel's always been good at doing, with not spoiling finales, I would say, and holding off on like the final form of something.
Definitely. Yeah. May have had some connection issues there, but the message persists. Mephisto is still relevant, guys. We're still here. Jenna, you're definitely much more of a comic book fan than I am. I read X-Men when I was a kid, and it wasn't until the MCU I started getting into more Marvel comics. Do you ever think the Mephisto debacle would be an actual thing we talk about on a Disney streaming app?
Again, like the WandaVision of it all was first, and then it was No Way Home, and then it was Agatha for a hot minute. It's like we keep bringing up Mephisto, and then I'm like, even if we get Mephisto, we're going into Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like, when can we immediately follow up on that story anyway? So it's it feels like chasing the carrot on the stick, but then not knowing what you're going to do when you actually get the carrot. So I'm curious if we are proven right and it is him, what that means. But I would not rule out like Dormammu or something else, just to make it a little more insular and just kind of not blow the Mephisto of it all immediately.
On the Dormammu thing, it was interesting note. I saw someone point out where like when it was like the must-watch list ahead of Ironheart, Doctor Strange was on there, which it's like it could be surface level like magic, get to know it in the MCU, but maybe it's not just that. Yeah.
Ooh, wires connecting, because they had that highlighted him in the episode release too, right? You see, they know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? What if Thea is for Mads Mikkelsen?
Right.
That guy's coming back. You know what I mean? You see, we can do it. Jenna said carrot earlier. Who eats carrots? Rabbits. Who had a rabbit? Agatha. What did people think Mephisto was? The rabbit from WandaVision. It's all connected. Every single second.
Now, if it was a Wanda thing, that sign me up for that.
That would be insane. The internet would completely break. It would fall into shambles. It would be great.
I would cry, I think. I'd cry. I really do. That'd be it. I want her back so bad, dude. I just want her back so bad.
Patience.
And patience is a word. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Ironheart 123. Jenna, thank you so much for joining us here to talk about these 3 episodes. We can't wait to have you back again. Go read some comics. What do you got coming up? What do you got coming down the line? That Face Hero, all the different things that you do.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me again. Like, this was a lot of fun. I already can't wait to come back. As you mentioned, my YouTube channel is at Go Read Some Comics. I'm literally working on the script for a video right now about the Marvel DC rivalry and whether or not it needs to evolve as we get to the Supertastic era and whatever might come on the horizon. So stay tuned for that. I have a feeling that's going to be a very long, very chunky video. And then I co-host the Phase Hero podcast, which our live episodes change basically every week. It depends on our schedules, but we usually try to be live at Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time. So be sure to join us. It's a lot of fun.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much again. For Jenna and David, I'm Matt. Until then, we'll see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in, welcome on, and welcome to our direct rewind Jurassic Park as we get ready for Jurassic World Rebirth. This is our rewind series. If you're listening on the direct podcast Patreon, you are getting this a week early. If you are listening to it on the feed, we are just weeks away from Jurassic World Rebirth, the next installment of the Jurassic franchise. And we're here to review one Jurassic Park movie, arguably the only good Jurassic Park movie. And it's not just good.
Absolutely.
It's the greatest. It's one of the greatest blockbusters of all time, if not the greatest blockbuster of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, 1993's Jurassic Park. Your starting lineup: Sam Neill as Dr. Grant, Laura Dern as Ellie, Jeff Goldblum as Dr. Ian Malcolm, Richard Attenborough as John Hammond, Bob Peck as Muldoon, Martin Ferrero as Gennaro, B.D. Wong as Dr. Wu, Joseph Mazzello as Tim, Ariana Richards as Lex, Samuel A. motherfucking Jackson as Arnold, and the GOAT,
R.I.P.
Wayne Knight as Nedry. Old Nedry, directed by the actual GOAT, Steven Spielberg. Music by the actual GOAT, John Williams. Written by David Koepp. Book by Michael Crichton. David Thompson. Here we are. Jurassic Park, 1993. Your overall thoughts, your Rotten Tomatoes scores to go off of. You ready?
I'm ready.
91 critic, 91 audience. Pound for pound, baby. Pound for pound.
Yeah, that adds up.
So are you in line, above, or under the 91 Rotten Tomatoes score, and your overall thoughts on Jurassic Park?
Yeah, I'm either in line or slightly above. If this movie was a 96% Rotten Tomatoes, I'd be like, yep, that makes sense. I texted Matt when I was watching it, or when I finished watching it, and I was like, I love perfect movies. It's great when a movie can just be perfect, and you realize rewatching. And for me, like, before my overall thoughts, like, this was one of those blind spots for me for a long time. Thomas, shout out TCR, was on me about watching this forever. Like, I had seen Jurassic World movies before I saw Jurassic Park, which is just blasphemy, honestly, looking back. But anyway, like, this to me is a perfect movie. Rewatching this is only my second time ever watching it, because I'd only watched it the one time before this, and I didn't grow like, so to that effect, I did not grow up with this movie for whatever reason. It is a very good movie. I really enjoy it. The Spielberg magic is just all over it, and there's just something about Spielberg, man, when he's cooking, and with John Williams at his side, you feel like you're floating at times. The magic is just unbelievable. Like, it's part of the reason why I think we all love movies, like, and this of course started the dinosaur invigorated the dinosaur craze. I know,
Yeah.
like, there's like a stat about this movie after it came out, so many more people were signing up to be paleontologists
Yeah.
in college. Like, the increase in, like, undergrad degrees in paleontology was like 500% increase across the United States. That shit does not happen anymore in modern society. And I love that, like, the impact this movie had. And it moves. Like, I will say, like, this movie, quick overall thought, it feels so much smaller, than like Jurassic World. Obviously, look at the titles, look at the names, but it's so much better. And it's a movie that knows how and when to end. It's like you're dying for more when it ends, and that's perfect. That's how it should be. It's old school, but it's very Spielberg, and that score is just perfect.
Yeah, it's a perfect movie. Perfect movie front to back. Probably the greatest blockbuster of all time. When you talk about just a movie you go to the movie theaters and watch, right? And, you know, there are better movies. There are more fun movies. There's no movie that I think is more like magical and immersive than Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I did grow up with this movie. I was born in 1994. This movie came out a year before I was born. So it was in my life the entire time, right? You talk about the paleontology stat, something I always found funny. The hit television show Friends. Have you ever heard of it?
Heard of it. Yeah.
It premiered in 1994, and Ross, one of the main characters of Friends, is a paleontologist.
Right.
And you have to imagine that's a reaction to Jurassic Park.
Had to have been.
Had
Yeah.
to have been. There's a great line in season 3 of Friends where Ross and Rachel are fighting, and it's because Rachel's into fashion and Ross is bored of it. And he goes, "They made a movie about what I do. They never made a movie about Jurassic Park." And it's always a very funny one. But you know, and the dinosaur craze was in my life my entire time because of this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like dinosaurs were one of the toys you get when you're a kid. And
Absolutely.
you have to imagine it's because of Jurassic Park. Like you graduate from dinosaurs to Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles or whatever it is
Hmm.
in the mid to late 90s. I remember this movie in so many ways, right? I remember the first time I saw it when I was like 5 or 6 because it's scary enough to where you don't see it super early, right? You see it, you know, when you're old enough. It's a lot of people's first scary movie in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, right? It
Yeah.
really is. I remember the first time I watched it. I remember the first time I watched it in theaters. And probably the most paramount viewing experience I had was 2 or 3 years ago when me and my wife Erin watched this after not seeing it for well over a decade,
Hmm.
longer even. Um, hadn't seen it since I was a kid and watched it as an adult working for this company, doing this podcast and just experiencing it. I had my Hue lights, had my sound bar, we were at home. And that viewing with Erin was one of the most incredible movie watching experience I've ever had at home. It
Yeah.
was euphoric, man. I cried, I cheered. I had forgotten. I didn't forget the big scenes. Obviously, everybody knows the big scenes of Jurassic Park because they're just everywhere. You know what I mean? They're a part of the lexicon.
Yeah.
But I forgot what this movie was, man. This is a Disney World movie for so much of it. And then it is a horror monster movie for so much of it. And then it's an adventure movie at the end. I forgot that the sun comes back up. You know what I mean? Because like the only third
Sure
act scene
does.
I could really remember was the kitchen scene, which is arguably one of the best scenes in movie history. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like that was inside. I forgot the sun comes back up at the end of this movie.
Hmm.
And it's so perfect. It's so well, it's 3 movies in one, so well put together, act to act. The through lines are great, the characters are great. The moments, those lines, those lines just work. And like you said, the
Yeah.
magic of it all. I did something really interesting. And it's the reason my MVP will not be Steven Spielberg. That's not to say he can't be yours, because he probably will be. I mean, how do you not, right?
Yeah.
Reason he won't be is because just a couple days ago, me and Aaron watched Jaws. She had never seen it. I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. This Spielberg guy, David, he's had the sauce since day one, man. This guy knows how to make a fucking movie because
Yeah.
Jaws has every bit of magic as Jurassic Park does.
Hmm.
And it's 20 years later. It's insane
Yeah.
what he's able to do decade to decade. And then there's Ready Player One. Um,
I've recently watched Close Encounters of a Third Kind,
mhm.
for the first
Yeah,
time. Also Spielberg.
terrific
Very
movie.
good. Very
Yeah,
good.
different but good.
Yeah,
Uh,
different, but like there's still that magic to it. There's just this
he's got
Spielbergian-ness things is just like
it's
it,
something I've said on this podcast. I talk about Ryan Coogler and I say the word Spielbergian because
yeah.
he just understands the
It
magic.
it really like that should be like an official like Merriam-Webster word. Like it
Absolutely.
really like for film like people that like want to study film like think about just everything that Spielberg's inspired. Like he is the inspiration for so many. I was just listening to James Gunn this morning on a podcast. He was just saying how he's like, yeah, probably Jaws was or Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like these are the movies that inspired every single one of our modern filmmakers.
And I've been getting into The Ringer more.
Yeah.
After years and years of resistance, I've accepted that it's a pretty great podcast network. I don't know why I didn't want to, but I did.
I've been on it since like day one.
It's like a it's not Suits Barstool, but it's button up shirt no tie Barstool, and I think that's why I was so resilient for
That's
so
funny.
long. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Casual Friday Barstool is what I'll say.
that's funny.
But I listened to their Jaws rewatchables, and they talked about how
Mm.
Jaws, as important and impactful and arguably like the biggest movie of all time, it also ruined movies
Right.
because after Jaws, everything needed to be a wide release. Everything needed to be the profit that Jaws captured. And Spielberg and it's Steph Curry. Steph Curry ruined the game of basketball because he was so good at the
So
three
great.
pointer, and now
Yeah.
everybody wants to shoot. You coach basketball. How many kids were just fucking chucking, dude?
Yeah. No,
And that
it's
was
funny you mentioned that. I just had one of my other friends be like, "Yeah, you would know it's better than me." Like I was talking to he was talking to some coworker about how his kid, like his basketball practices are just terrible. All these kids are just trying to chuck up threes, and I'm like, "Yeah, like I was only away from the game high school basketball 5 years before I started coaching it again. It already was different. It already how like kids think and play was totally different. And it's funny because it's not just Spielberg too in this era. Like Sean Fennessy always makes that point on the rewatchables. He did it with Jaws, Jurassic Park, this movie, Star Wars, where it's like these big, massive blockbusters where it's like these are pop culture defining films that are going to go on to be massive franchises. And like pretty much outside of Star Wars, you could even argue, I mean, some might, I wouldn't. Outside of Star Wars, the continuations are always worse. You know? Like Star Wars is actually and Marvel. But that's different.
it's different, but it's also it's the same idea.
Yeah,
Marvel
yeah. You
ruined
don't
Marvel ruined movie franchises because it was
Oh
so
yeah.
good. You know what I mean? And
Marvel took that to like Marvel's almost like Marvel's like the Steph Curry almost. Cause it's like great. Jurassic Park is like adding the 3-point line, and
yes,
then Marvel
yes,
Studios is Steph Curry because it's like, wait a
fuck
second,
yeah.
we need a 4-point line. We got to back this thing up. Like, this is trouble. Yeah,
I've been doing movies or sports for about 4 or 5 years now. That might be one of the best ones I've ever heard. Excellent movies or sports, David. Well done. Because you're right, and it's a really interesting way to identify a goat or a generational talent of a thing, in where they're so good at something, everybody else tries to be that. Nobody can be as good as that. One that I've recently talked about, he weirdly turned back on my team side last night. I don't know if you saw this, but Stephen A. Smith
Oh, did he?
picked the Pacers last night.
Mm.
I think it's because he understands the barn. He knows what
I
the
did
field
see that.
he knows what the field house can do. Um, God, this is going to come out so long after the Pacers win or lose Game 7. Wow.
Well, it'll be right. It'll be right after Game 7 on Patreon.
Shout out Pacers.
It'll be 8 days afterwards on the main podcast feed.
I
Fingers
could be
fingers crossed.
I could be such a different human by the time people are hearing this. No, but like Stephen A. Smith, the hot take, the strong stance one way or the other, the debate, sports talk of it all.
Yeah.
He was so good at that, and we all enjoyed it so much that it's literally what ESPN became,
Hmm.
and it became oversaturated, and we go back now and retroactively look down on Stephen A. Smith because he is the result. You know what I mean? And
Right.
nobody goes back and looks down on Jurassic Park, but it did change things, man. And
Yeah.
and in a very George Lucas type of way. You
Yeah.
think the prequels have as much CGI in them if the CGI in Jurassic Park isn't as good as it is?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
It's all ILM.
it's great.
Yeah.
And it's magic, and I love it. Let's get into some superlatives. MVP, most valuable player, or biggest takeaway. I forget which one we do for the
Don't
rewinds.
matter.
Who's your MVP for Jurassic Park?
I'm gonna go Spielberg. I think like
How do you
it,
not?
in a way because not only does he like navigate the story so well, and it's based on a book, and he bought the rights for $1.5 million. So that's fun.
Shout out Michael Crichton, dude.
Yeah. $1.5 million.
The book
Um,
is so different than the movie, I've heard as well. The book is like so much more of a horror movie.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
And apparently James Cameron actually wanted to buy the rights, but he did not. And it would have been a more twisted version, apparently.
It would have been what? It would have been Aliens, right?
Yeah.
It just would have been Aliens, but like a bigger scope.
Because that's the MVP, I think. Spielberg, but it's him putting his touch on this story. I've never read the
Yes.
book.
Perfect.
But the characters, the kids, the like this old Spielberg does this great thing with kids. It's like a weird sentence, but it's true. Like he makes the movies approachable for PG audiences where you can put your it's not that it's like, oh, I relate to this kid in like this great positive way, but I relate to how they're talking. I relate to the fear in their eyes. I relate to their um innocence of the world. We see that.
Curiosity.
Think about E.T., man. It's got to be a kid because the kid would be like open and like honest and like and true to himself. And you're not. There's so many themes of that in cinema of like you're just more of like a pure, pure soul when you're a kid. Like anyway. So even like Robert Zemeckis does this whole thing too. He does like in like the Polar Express, like the bell chime, and like you can't hear it or you can hear it, and the adults can't hear it. Anyway, um, all this stuff is so Spielbergian, and the movie has such a great overall great chemistry, which I think comes from the directing. I'm pointing it on that a lot. Great setup, great pacing. You mentioned it's like three movies. I love the way it works, and I love like the world building's phenomenal. He's not scared of having an epic moment feel epic, and he's always able to make a big moment feel magical and feel larger than life. Where I feel like a lot of directors maybe try to do that sometimes and fail, and it's like, man, that was cheesy, or man, that didn't hit hard, or man, it almost feels like you're trying to be Spielberg, but you're not able to really hit that. Like when Laura Dern's first sees the dinosaur,
Ugh,
the plant eating dinosaur, when they first are riding and they see that dinosaur,
hurts
and
her head.
and the and like the music swells and they get out and like the CGI for the time, I know, same. The CGI for the time's like, what so, but it doesn't matter. That's like almost the magic in a way. Is like the CGI nowadays is so much better, but the movies will never be as good at this because they can't that wild card X factor sixth sense just is missing. Like there's just something like how is these people staying in front of a green screen, but it happens to be this like giant, herbivore or whatever is making me like feel all these emotions. Like what is happening right now? But it does, and that none of that happens. None of those moments happen in this movie without Spielberg running the show. And I think Jurassic Park would have been probably a hit without Spielberg, but it wouldn't have been what it is and the all-time classic that it became without him.
So many moments in that scene are perfect and well paced, like you said. The pan, the camera work, just moving from the top of the car to the bottom of the car into the field. That's that Spielberg shit that I can never comprehend, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But it's also just the way he lets the characters put periods on those moments or exclamation parts on those moments. You have Sam Neill, Ellie, stop talking, look, and you let Laura Dern do her fucking thing, right?
yeah.
And just look, shock and all. But then it keeps going. John Hammond, welcome to Jurassic Park.
Classic.
Ian Malcolm, you son of a bitch, you did it. You really did it. And go one further. The lawyer, we're gonna be rich. You know
Yeah,
what
the
I mean?
lawyer.
Like,
Lawyer's so
that
silly.
scene is so perfect for so many reasons, and every little element adds to the pie. And back to just you hit the nail on the head. He's not afraid to have epic moments. I think one of the most underrated scenes in Avengers Endgame, the most epic movie ever made. Um, and people, it's only underrated because people don't like girls. But what are they shooting at? Something is center of the atmosphere. Bang. There she is, Captain Marvel, in the fourth quarter, running onto the field like Shane Falco. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The hero shot of this movie is not one of the humans. It's not Dr. Grant or Ellie or John Hammond sacrificing or making. It's the T-Rex coming in to save the fucking day. the villain for the first half of the movie takes over the villains for the second half of the movie, and you get the Jurassic Park shot where he takes out the velociraptors,
Oh,
the roar, the banner falling.
classic.
Fucking
Just that whole area
epic,
is so
dude.
like I had never seen this movie like as of like 5 years ago, and all that was like in my consciousness. And
Yeah.
I grew up with dinosaurs. I don't know how I had never seen the movie. So it's like funny, like there's so much about this movie. I think this movie more than anything, having now seen it twice, um, was a part of my childhood without being a part of my childhood.
Yeah.
I feel like I mean I grew up loving dinosaurs, had dinosaurs, had all kinds of dinosaur stuff, but like, a lot of it comes from this movie. Like, think about the Velociraptor.
Was not a well-known dinosaur before this movie.
Yeah, like
The
it's
dinosaur.
yeah,
Like outside of T-Rex, that is the fucking dinosaur.
yeah, and like when they come back, it's like oh my gosh, and they're the bad ones. Like that's the best part of the movie. Like not to step on top plays, but you just
100%.
nailed it. That is the best part of the movie.
Kitchen?
When the T-Rex comes in and bites and starts and taking on the Velociraptors, it's like this is what is that? Was that in the book? Because that is so good. Like that is such a great part of this movie.
The reflection shot. It gets me every single time. I've seen this movie a dozen times. The reflection shot gets me every single time. And
Yeah,
it does not miss,
yeah,
man. It's unreal. My MVP to get to it. We'll get to top plays, of course. That's going to be the bulk of this. Because I just saw Jaws and know that Steven Spielberg was just in his bag. You know what I mean? This
yeah.
is a veteran Steven Spielberg doing this thing. You know what I mean? Like people who grew up on Spielberg were not shocked at the Steven Spielberg of this movie at all.
Right.
Because he had done it 3 times already with Jaws, E.T., and Indiana Jones. The magic of it, I mean. So I'm going to a supporting player for my MVP off the bench. It's the Goldblum. It's Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Correct.
He's the Han Solo of this movie.
Yes.
And it's pretty fucking perfect.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like the iconic lines, obviously, and it's the line of the movie. It could have been the tagline. You spend so much time thinking, wondering if you could. You never stop to think if you should.
Yeah.
Chaos theory, the mathematician.
Chaos theory.
He was brought in to combat the scientist of it all. And he ends up immediately being on their fucking side. Immediately.
So good.
The second they're in the Disney World thing, the ride,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they all get out. It's like Ian Malcolm is on the team now. And he's perfect. The way he talks just works. We need to go faster now. And just for that instance, nobody expected Dr. Grant to get out of the car and run off into the woods, but here we are. And now I'm here talking to myself.
When he
And it's
says
just
one line from him, it's like but if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates won't kill you or whatever.
exactly, yeah.
It's so
Amazing.
funny.
It's amazing, man. And it's like what a perfect point in that movie,
God creates
God
dinosaurs.
creates dinosaurs, God kills dinosaurs, God creates man creates dinosaurs kill man, women take over the earth. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking
And
amazing.
then she pops
And-
in. Yeah.
And a
Women
sub
takes over.
MVP, honestly, is Laura Dern.
Yeah.
Laura Dern's Ellie, because
Yeah.
what a not damsel in distress she is in this fucking movie, man. She
Mm-hmm.
is so Leia in this movie. It's insane. Like there's 2 versions of Leia. There's the Leia from Star Wars, and then there's the woman from Indiana Jones. She was the mom in Sandlot. I forget her name. But the damsel in distress of it all.
Yeah.
This Laura Dern's Ellie here, she's there for a reason. Her reason comes to fruition right away. Like the botanist of it all. She figures out the reason this is happening. She's the one that figures it out. Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
She figures that out. You know what I mean? They even have a joke about it in the movie where John Hammond's like, "I'll go do this and this, that, the other," and Laura's like, "No, I just said I'm gonna do it," and he's like, "Well, and then she's like, I'll just pretend you didn't fucking say that, right?"
Yeah.
She's acted the whole movie. She's the one who calls John Hammond on his shit.
Yeah.
And it's just perfect. It's really great. And so I'm gonna say Ian Malcolm and Ellie share
Yeah.
my MVP here because like They are such great supporting roles where it's Dr. Grant and the kids are the main character, right? And what an amazing arc that is. But Ian Malcolm and Ellie really like this the B plot of this movie is driven through them, and it's awesome to watch, especially when you got Wayne Knight and Samuel L. Jackson in there doing Wayne Knight and Samuel L.
Hold
Jackson.
on to your butts. Yeah, I think Goldblum steals the movie when I watch it.
Absolutely.
I've always, like I said, I've only seen it a couple times. Like every time I'm entranced by him when he's on the screen, and because he had such a fun like flavor to the film in his performance, in his character. Like it's like he has these great concerns immediately. Even when they're first pulling up, it's like, what did they have in there? King Kong. Uh, but
He has like 5 movie references in this movie. It's great.
yeah, there's so many great one-liners. Just a lot of great dialogue. Just fun, moving dialogue. Like even just like obviously like Hammond and everything. Like
Fair no expense.
yeah, like it's just phenomenal. Yeah, I mean I think that's a great MVP as well.
Do you have an LVP? I don't.
No, I
Because
don't.
the
The
LVP
future, I'd say like what we just talked about, what this creates. I've never seen a Jurassic Park movie besides this. I've seen Jurassic World movies, but I know there's sequels to this movie that I've never seen,
they're not
and
good.
I'm even gonna plan on seeing them. And it's like the LVP is because this movie ends so perfectly, and it does end where you can re-explore I think the universe in the future, but it's like why
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Uh Movies or sports. I don't know if they're the Cowboys or the Knicks. They're one of the two though, because they won once in the 90s
Mm.
or in the Knicks case the 70s. Fuck the Knicks.
I think the Cowboys for sure, man.
The only reason I don't say Cowboys is because they won 3 times, where Park only got one. But the idea is there. They're
Yeah.
huge in the 90s, and they are riding that coattail ever since.
Nah,
With zero evidence to prove that they're still at that level.
yeah, the 3 Super Bowls equals this one movie. Yeah, it made over $300 million. So there you go.
There you go.
In 1993, it made like almost $400 million domestically in 1993. It's ridiculous. But like it seriously is a great comp because then it's like you just no these some fan bases like the Cowboys, they just ride the coattails and rely so I mean Dolphins too, like that might be a better one. 1972, pop the champagne.
But dude, Jurassic Park gets billion-dollar movies still to this day off this one movie, where the Cowboys lead every ESPN show.
That's exactly right. Like they're still America's team. This is still like America still loves dinosaurs at the end of the day. Like I talk about this ad nauseum on the podcast of like, oh, this fucking Jurassic World movie. Like it's just like, oh my gosh, like no creativity. They suck, and we're gonna like make $1 billion. Like I'm, like gritting my teeth writing the box office article in December. Like Jurassic World Rebirth probably gonna make $1 billion. It's like
This is going to be the James Cameron Jurassic Park movie.
The new one.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
this looks like the James
I'm
Cameron
excited for the new one.
Dude, I love that. I love the Fast and Furious of it all. You know what I mean? Like they're not trying to do the magic thing; they're trying to do the action thing, and I love that.
The scary thing. Yeah,
I fucking love it.
It'll be cool. I mean, the new one actually I feel like has a more. It was funny watching this movie. It's like wow, watching Jurassic Park after like being exposed to Jurassic World. It's like oh my gosh, smaller was better. Like smaller story fit this so much better because the dinosaurs feel bigger when the story's smaller. And I think that's what they're kind of trying to do again with Rebirth, where they completely, I mean, Fallen Kingdom made it so dinosaurs were everywhere in the world, and then Dominion follows up on that. And it's just like, like I get we had the ability to do this, but do we need to be doing this? And I get like the idea of it, but yeah.
How meta is what you just fucking said?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We spent so much time thinking if we could, should we?
Right.
Should we do a live action Shrek? Probably the fuck not. Man, I was talking about Shrek last night. My favorite scene in Shrek: mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Tell him. It's the best line in that entire fucking movie, dude. It's so funny. It's so funny, dude. Every time.
I love Shrek.
Let's get into my favorite top plays jingle that I've been excited to do for months. I literally called David like 2 months ago when I realized what the top plays jingle for Jurassic Park is going to be because it's perfect. You ready?
Here we go.
It's the same fucking beat, dude.
It's
It's
perfect.
so cool.
It's the only one that fits that well.
ESPN literally ripped off the Jurassic Park beat.
It's so good.
Perfect. It's perfect.
I have a small top
Top
play.
plays. Huh?
I
Oh
have a
yeah, yeah.
small one to
Small
start.
ones I feel like are the move with this movie because the big ones we all know.
We already said the big ones.
Yeah.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. You walk into Universal now in the Jurassic area. That's what you see. It's what you hear. It's great.
They play that song on loop,
Oh, I
dude.
love it.
It's
I
insane. Waiting in
Yeah.
line for that ride got me a little sick of that song because man, it
Yeah.
was over and over and
When you go
over.
to these theme parks, all you hear is John Williams and Alan Silvestri because you go to
Yeah, dude.
Universal and you just hear the Back to the Future one.
Yeah.
So good. Okay. When they first are talking to the scientist guy when they're explaining the egg hatching,
Yeah.
um,
Dr. Boone.
that great practical effects. I was sitting there watching the movie, like, how did they get this egg to crack and this little puppet dinosaur to pop out and like has facial expressions and is nuzzling as Hammond's explaining, like, oh, like I always try to be here for every like hatching because they make a connection to the person. Like,
Hammond, dude.
yeah, he's so funny. I love him. He's a great like 90s character.
How does he not die in this movie?
Yeah. And
How
then
does he
Samuel
not
Jackson
fucking die in
does.
this movie, man? It's insane.
I remember when first watching the movie being like, what? Like Samuel Jackson dies? Couldn't
Off
believe it.
screen.
Off screen, I know his arm's just back. Which confused me at first, by the way.
It's not the same shade of skin.
Yeah.
The arm is not as dark as Samuel Jackson is. It's an incredible decision.
It's rough.
It was rough.
Anyway, and then like I love that sequence of like that was the opening of like like oh they're all the same sex, they're all women, like these are it opened up the whole like oh they're really playing God here,
Exactly.
and like nature finds a way and like that. I just love that sequence. It feels all very real because of the practical effects as well, and it just worked. That's where to me as a viewer that's where I get the most like lean forward invested in the movie.
Absolutely. It's the whole plot. It's the whole
Yeah, invested
well,
in the
it's
plot.
the second half of the plot because another top play is the whole idea of the mosquito amber.
Yeah,
The guy from Indiana Jones.
classic.
Rants like me. He's a digger. But the whole amber mosquito thing. Michael Creighton. What a fucking genius, dude. Because man, does that make sense in my head?
It sure does.
That checks out.
Yeah, it
I buy
feels
that.
real. It feels like that's like okay, we could do this.
I buy that shit. I really do.
We have dinosaurs. They're called alligators, and they're all over Florida. Like genuinely.
They are. They're scary. That scene leads to the Avengers scene where they have dinner in the room of screens, where it
Yeah.
just looks like a Nick Fury base. Shout out Mr. DNA.
Also
right.
very
That's
present
his
at
name?
Universal Parks. Yeah.
He's boy is he. That one's great. Man, we've talked about so many of them already.
I like when the kids get separated with what's his face.
Yeah. Dr. Grant.
Yeah. I really appreciate when when they get separated and they have to like kind of like live in the jungle and like it's like are these like in learning the difference between like flesh eating and like
Right.
just eating plants,
Herbivores and omnivores.
herbivores, yeah, and carnivores. And I was like, this is so that was what I was talking about earlier in the podcast of like the Spielberg stuff of like you connect to it as a kid when you're like, yeah, because that's when you're a kid, you love learning about this stuff. Like, oh, some only eat meat, some only eat vegetables, some or plants, I should say, and some eat both. Like that's so and like, oh, we eat both. Like it's all these like basic science things, but it's so fun and it's in this scary way. And like she has to learn that or because of their survival, basically.
It's really good. Running a little low on time here, but what a movie, man. What an absolute great movie. And that kind of leads to, do you have any more you want to go real quick?
No, I think we
talked about a lot
nailed
of them.
everything earlier. Yeah. Just flying away at the end, the escape.
Exactly. Yeah. Mr. Hammond, after deep consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park. Me neither.
Yeah.
Clever girl, all that, right? This movie
not top play is her on the like
I know this.
the
I know this.
No.
And hey, when you're a kid, David, let me tell you, it's
Right.
fucking awesome.
That's cool.
It's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
She's
It's the
doing
coolest.
it.
It's the coolest thing you've ever seen. It's the worst UI of all time. Um, this movie is magic. This movie is fire in a pan. This movie is what Spielberg does. And honestly, it makes me so excited for Jurassic Park Rebirth or Jurassic World Rebirth because based on the trailers, at least, man, are they just doing Fast and Furious with this? Where
Right.
it's going, they're going to dial in on the action of this movie and make a movie out of it. And I think that the cast and the energy of that movie is going to do exactly what it needs to do. And the biggest aspect of that is not trying to be this fucking movie. And
Yeah.
that could change. I could be wrong, but based on the trailers, they don't seem to trying to be this movie, and
Mm-mm.
that's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
We need the world of Jurassic Park reimagined. Very skeleton crew. You know what I mean? The world of Star Wars, a different pocket.
I think the idea that I'm excited about for inspiration from this movie is that it's smaller and it does feel like a team is going out to an island
Yep.
to figure something out. You know,
Do something.
we're scientists, experiment, figure something out. You know, and then things go sideways.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
and like
Ladies and
different people do different things between like Jonathan Bailey and ScarJo.
I heard Jonathan Bailey's pretty good.
I'm excited for the movie, man. I see it in 10 days from now, so
Me
it'll be fun.
too. June 30th.
June 30th.
Very
Oh,
excited.
oh,
It's fun.
early review
It's the second
recording.
screening I've gotten in Indianapolis.
That is odd to me.
Second screening. First one, Mufasa. Stinker. The
Why?
movie sucks.
Anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Jurassic Park. Rewind. Very big movie for this podcast. Thank you so much. Next up, Superman. That's our next
Crazy.
movie review. Is Superman.
Wow. I can't believe that.
Can't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is everything you need to know about the universes you love. Thank you to everybody on the Direct Podcast Patreon page. For David, I'm Matt. Until then, we'll see you next time.